Welcome to the Conquer Your Life podcast. Hello, Conquer crew. Janelle Montero here with another episode of the Conquer Your Life podcast. Today, I am getting a little personal. We are talking about 3 steps that you can take to make magic in your marriage. Ooh, what are they? So these are 3 things that have really worked for Steve and I. My husband and I have been together for 16 years. We got married on our 10th wedding anniversary week. So as you can imagine, we have gone through a lot together. A lot. We met when we were, 25? And have totally transitioned through life together. Okay. Now, there's been a lot of things that have happened in that big chunk of time, right? As you can imagine, we both had major career changes. He went back to school late in life. Well, not back to school. Actually, he went to college later in life. So while he was working full time, he was going to school. That was a big thing for us. I left. I left my job. No, I was let go from my job in PR and changed careers. Like there was a lot of things in our life that we've had to endure together, hardships as well, many. But 3 things have remained consistent for us through our lives and now as we are parents. So I wanted to share these things with you because all too often I hear people bitch and moan about their relationships. Well, if you're not happy for one in your relationship, you need to change it. Okay. With anything in life, if you're not happy and you're not seeing the result you want, then you need to not just complain and bitch about it. You actually need to take a step in the right direction. And, people always say, all right, I'm not happy in my marriage. How can I fix it? It's too broke. I can't fix it. There are ways. Okay. You just both need to have the effort to do it. Okay. And that takes a lot of work. It's not easy for one person to put in all the work and the other just sit back. It won't work that way. It needs to be joint, right? So go to therapy, whatever you need to do. But listen, these 3 things, if you can really work this into your relationships from an early standpoint, I guess, early time frame, you're really going to see change. All right. You're going to be better for one another. Steve and I are truly a team. And I can't stress that enough. When you're in a marriage, it cannot be all or nothing. Just like in life, it can't be one of you doing everything. It can't be all or nothing in life. It can't be all, you doing everything. It is truly needs to be teamwork. You need to think of your family as a team, and your kids should also be doing the same. If we're not, if our roles as husband and wife or partners, okay, if your role is not showing balance, then how are your kids going to then understand that they have a role in the family as well? You can't just expect your kids to be like doing things for you out of the blue when they haven't for so many years. Again, if you're complaining about it, change it, people. Change it. All right. So this is how we're going to do it. So 3 steps to creating magic in your marriage or in your relationship. Number one is communication. Now, I know we hear this all the time. Communicate. You need to express your feelings to one another. Okay. And that's not exactly everything that I'm saying. Yes, you do need to communicate your emotions and what's bothering you. Like how is your husband going to know, or your partner, how is your partner going to know that you need something unless you express it, right? They cannot I'm sorry, but guys definitely aren't mind readers. Us women have much more intuition on what need to be met, right? On our kids, on our people around us. But you need to understand that unless you talk to your husband, spouse, partner about what you need, you will not get those needs met. And you will be more stressed than ever because you will constantly be telling yourself, I need this to happen. You cannot wish your husband to go cook dinner if he's never cooked a day in his life, okay? If you've always had that role and you've always made dinner for him, then you cannot bitch about him not making dinner, okay? You've created that madness. So, communication is number one. There are levels to communication. Your emotional communication is essential. You need to communicate your needs to one another. You need to communicate how you're feeling on a day to day. Okay. Steve doesn't understand what I go through as a mom. He's not here. He doesn't have that role of getting her ready for school, of her needing to nourish her emotionally all day long. He doesn't understand that role because he's not in it all the time. So I can't expect him to understand when I'm stressed out about it unless I tell him. Right. So that's what I do. I try to make it a point to really let him know how I'm feeling emotionally around it. There have been times when I've blocked it all in and tried to be miracle mama. And let me tell you, it is not easy. It eats away at you. So you need to express the emotion. And when I am able to express that emotion to him, he can better help me calm down, understand what I need, take on a little bit more that I need him to take off my plate. Okay. So these are key essentials, communication around your emotional needs. All right. The other piece of communication is what you want for yourself. What do you want for your life? What do you need? Okay. So not just emotionally, but what do you see with your family? Do you guys actually talk about goals for your family? Steve and I have always made it a point to discuss what we want for our family, even before we had a family. We discussed what we needed, what our desires were, what our values were as parents. Okay. Now these are often not easy topics. Okay. One of them being vaccines for us. We needed to talk about that before we had our child in the world. So we made sure we discussed, we researched, we asked each other questions and really became knowledgeable on what we wanted to make appropriate choices as parents. Okay. So that was one of the things for us. What other things? What are your roles going to be as parents, right? Like, what are you going to teach our kids? What am I going to teach our kids? What are your standpoints on parenting? These are things that we needed to discuss. And also, what do we want for our lives? Okay. What kind of future do we want to have? What would happen if we talk about this already. What would happen if our child didn't want to go to college and wanted to pursue something else? Like, you need to have these conversations that are often hard, but these make good cocktail time conversations. This is what, we don't discuss go to dinner on a date night and discuss, oh, did you see so-and-so and blah, 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 blah. We're not gossiping. Like, we have enough to talk about and challenges for ourselves in our life that we want to create and be involved in. We don't need to worry about other people's bullshit. And you shouldn't be either. Okay. If you are having conversations with your significant other consistently about other people and not talking about the real hard stuff, like what is going on in your life, then you need to check your communication. All right. You need to really circle back to what it is that this union was created for. Okay. It's a team, a family team, or even if you don't want to have children, that's your team. What does your team want for life? Okay. Have you heard that enrollment is now open for the next round of my Conquer Challenge coaching program? It's time to get off the roller coaster ride of results and see long-lasting transformation through fitness, nutrition, and mindset coaching for an overall lifestyle shift that will have you conquering your life in just 3 months' time. Head over to Janelle Montero today and apply. I look forward to working with you in conquering life. So these are the questions, like, creating a 1-year plan, creating a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan. What are our 6-month goals? What are our financial goals as a family this year? Like, that's all stuff that you guys should be discussing, because that's what's going to help you meet the goal. If you haven't talked about it, then how can you possibly get there, right? Just like goals for yourself, you set goals for yourself. Why aren't you setting goals as a couple? Okay. So let's start there. That's your communication. If you have trouble having conversations with your significant other because maybe that just wasn't what you guys did. Maybe you didn't have conversations like this as you've gone along. And now here you are, you've been married for 5 years and you still don't freaking know like what his dreams are, or where he wants to live when you retire, or, what would be his ideal day? Like, just like questions that we ask ourselves, why aren't we asking our spouses? Because we're going to help them get there, help our families get there by knowing these things, right? So if you have a hard time with conversation, then this is one of my good go-tos, okay? 88 great conversation starters. For those of you on my YouTube, you can see what I'm holding up. These are it's like a card game. You know what? Break it out on a night you're having a cocktail with your husband on the couch. That's what we do if we need to. We usually don't need to be honest. We usually have enough conversation, but these are fun. So for example, let me just pull one out. Describe a time as a child when you felt really important and special. Okay, well, that's really good. That's not a question a guy would probably even think about, to be honest, most guys. So you're forcing them out of their shells. Here's another one. What is your favorite song on the radio? And how does music affect you? I mean, I know how music affects me. I'm not afraid to talk about that with him. All right. So if you could meet anyone from history, who would it be and what questions would you ask them? So these are just like some fun, like game night questions like that you could ask your spouse or your partner and really get conversation flowing around goals, aspirations, dreams, and all of that. Okay. So communication, number 1. Oh, this is a good one. I just pulled another one. If you could spend 3 days alone at home, if you could spend 3 days alone at home, unplugged from the phone, TV, and computer, how would you spend your time? Ooh, we all know what it was like when we were on lockdown with our families, right? This is when we needed these questions, but that's another fun one. So there's tons of them. You can create your own, but this is also great if you need a little something to help you. All right, number 2 on my list, 2, creating magic in your marriage is saying yes to sexy time. Okay. Just like a workout, you will never leave a workout in a bad mood. You will never leave having sex on a bad note, right? You're always going to feel better. You're never going to feel worse about having sex. Let's be honest. Okay. So as much as we don't want to always say yes to having sexy time, we need to know our partner's needs and also know that forcing a habit, as I've talked about before, is going to create momentum. So forcing this habit in your marriage is going to help also create momentum. Okay. So it's not a bad thing to say yes to your spouse. Okay. So even when you don't feel sexy, you don't feel like you're in the mood, listen, mamas, or I just know it's hard when you're tired and dealing with children and maybe a career. It gets exhausting. Even if you just have a regular job and you don't even have kids, it's exhausting. All right. I get you, but say yes. I promise you, you will be happy. You will thank me later. Okay. And another thing is don't make it so, oh, it's only on Saturday nights. Okay. Like, I've been there before. I've had to force out of that habit. Because honestly, finding more creative, fun ways there will also help you feel better about things. Okay. So you have to force that habit and be a little aggressive sometimes, ladies. Don't leave it up to them all the time, please. Okay. That's all I got to say. Don't leave it up to them all the time. And then also with that, did you know, I recently read, did you know that morning time is often better? Well, because let's face it, there's better testosterone in the morning. Okay. So you might need to wake up and get that perk up, not from your coffee, but from some twerking. Get that perking from your twerking. Okay. Not from your coffee percolator. Create that magic yourself. All right, guys. So number 3, I have one more for you. Okay. Number 3 is know your role. Know your role in your family. Know your role in your relationship with your spouse. Okay. I for sure know I am not the best cook. Okay. I can cook. Um, Am I better than Steve? No, he's the better cook. He's very good at it. His Portuguese mother taught him very well. And no matter what he cooks, it is like 5-star. He will sous vide. And if you don't know what sous vide is, then you need to go and explore sous vide steaks, sous vide fish, sous vide chicken, everything sous vide because it is so good. But anyway, it's a way of cooking in a water bath, basically your meat, and it just tastes so good. Those sous vide egg bites from Starbucks, yeah, there's a reason they taste so good. It's the way that they're cooked. Okay, so basically, my husband will sous vide a steak on a Tuesday night. Thank you. Yes, I will have that. Yes, and I'm not going to say no. He knows his role is cooking as much as possible. My role is doing the other things like bathing Liliana, getting her ready for bed. Like that's my role. Okay. So at night, we know our roles. He often comes in late, but he'll still make a killer dinner. Sometimes I'll have to cook. We always talk about if that is going to be the case, but Steve is very good at it. So that is his role and mine is different. There are also shared roles that we have. Okay. So neither one of us likes to do laundry or clean. So we hire someone for the cleaning part most of the time. But if that's not possible, then know your role. I cannot get mad at him for, something that he isn't his role, basically. I can't get mad at him for not doing something that wasn't his role. All right. So cooking is his role. Cleaning and laundry is another role. So he pretty much does his own laundry. I do mine and Liliana's. It is not my role to know when your underpants are out of stock. Okay. It is, however, my role to know when my own and when Liliana's are out of stock. Okay. So we know the roles there. And then it doesn't cause this like headbutting. Like, why didn't you do the laundry this week? I have nothing for work. Like sometimes he asks me to do it and then I'll do it. Okay. Likewise, can you throw in a load of laundry for me or whatever? But just know that if your laundry gets messed up and your husband, that's not his role. You can't get mad at him for it. Okay. So just know that there are roles in your family that you both need to create. Who is the person that organizes the family chart, if you will, or the schedule of the family? Who does that? Is it you? Is it him? You need to know because otherwise shit gets messed up. Who pays the bills? It's not me, it's him. I have business bills to deal with, but my home bills, our home bills, he does. Okay. So when something isn't paid, it's not on me. It's not confusion there. It's always known who's doing what. Okay. So just know your role with your husband or wife. Set those rules so you don't butt heads. Okay. So these are my 3 main things that have been really successful for us long term. I have a lot of others that I will share with you, but I wanted to just pop in with those 3 on this podcast and really elaborate a little bit on how we've experienced them and what's helped us. So I hope this helped you. And if you're not in a relationship yet and you get in one, make sure you are being tight with your communication, saying yes to sexy time. Well, you don't ever have a problem in the beginning of a relationship, but 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road, right? That's another story. And then know your role, okay? Create those roles and stick to them and make it, communicate about them. So there's no confusion, there's no anger at one another, and then everybody's just more happy. All right, guys. Well, I look forward to hearing your thoughts on this podcast. Be sure to DM me, give me a shout out on social media. I look forward to hearing from you on what other topics you want me to explore. And make sure you comment below if you are on the YouTube link here. And until next time, my friends, with strength, love, and light always. Hey, Conquer crew. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Conquer Your Life podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone else who you think will enjoy it as well. And remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on all the future tips, tricks, and motivation to conquer your life. Also, if you would please leave a rating or review, I would be forever grateful, as it helps me know I'm providing you with value and inspires me to keep providing you with some free badass content. If you are on social media, don't forget to screenshot this episode and tag me at Janelle Montero and at Conquer Life Brands. I love engaging with all of you and sharing to my stories as well. Signing off until the next episode with strength, love, and light always.